demonstrations. Today we're going to be looking at transfers. Now there are three basic types of transfers. Press fix, which come on a nice big sheet from HMRS. These ones which are my least favourite, which are water slide. And my next least favourite, power sides rub down transfers. So first of all, we're going to need some equipment. So the first thing for press fix transfers, you need some water and some cotton buds and a scalpel. Dead easy to put them in place. So first of all, we're going to need a wagon. This one is one which has been pre-painted, and it's a North British 8-ton box van which are currently available from Pico. This one is one which predates Pico. It's actually the Parkside version. The other things I find very useful is a photograph of the prototype. So this is the Wild Swan publication, LDR Wagons Volume 3, which is where we find all the North British stock. So firstly, find the picture, and here it is. So it tells me what size letters I need to get, where to place them, and so for this one we're actually going to use the press fix transfers. So I need a medium size North British NB, which are these two at the bottom. So with my craft knife, go round the letters, making sure not to touch them, because you don't want to slice expensive transfers apart with your scalpel. And then you just need to flick up the edge of the transfers, because they're actually on a carrier sheet. So if I get that right, so if you've cut round the transfer, you need to lift it off with your tweezers and put them to one side. I usually do one side of a wagon at a time, so I put the transfers out of the way, pick up our wagon onto the sheet. So these NB sits inside there. I'm starting to so as it says press fix, you literally just push them into place. And get the B. Let's do the same with the B. Press fix does have the advantage that you can actually unpeel them and then put them back on if you get them in the wrong place. So when you're happy, I think so this B needs to go up slightly. You can literally peel them off. Try and make sure that's like square, slightly above the line, slightly above the line. Twist it slightly because it's out of skew, and once you're happy, push it down. So now you've got to that stage, you require single cotton bud into the water, and then all you've got to do is wet the transfer down, and the water activated glue engages as soon as you've touched it like that. bit more water on there, and then you've got to wait a little while. And then the carrier film should just lift off. So a bit of carrier film there. And back over the letters with the cotton bud, and that just removes some of the gum which held the carrier film onto the transfer, and then just dab them dry. So that's press fix. As you can see now, it's labelled MB. So the next one we're going to try is the rub down transfers. These are a little bit more complicated. So, rub down transfers. These ones are actually 00 ones, which are slightly smaller than the O gauge ones, but the principle is the same. And I'm actually labelling up an O gauge wagon using 00 transfers. That's because on this particular case, which is a Great Eastern 3-plank drop side, the actual sides are quite narrow, and therefore the lettering is smaller. And it just so happens that the 00 transfers fit the size rather than the O gauge ones, which are produced by Power Sides. So first off, cut out the letters. Dead easy, but just don't put too much pressure on the letters themselves, because they will move off the transfer film. Right, so I need to transfer the letters. And I've got to make sure the right way up when I do the next stage. So I put the letters onto that. And here comes the magic trick. And the magic trick is 3M Scotch Magitape. Sticky enough to hold transfers in place, but not sticky enough to rip your paint off. So I go over the top of the transfer with the sticky, lift off, and then place the transfer where I want it using the sticky tape. Once I'm happy with the position, I'll wrap the tape round the wagon and then I will do exactly the same thing with the G. Get that into position as well. Once I'm happy, again wrap the tape round the wagon. So the transfers aren't moving, and literally you have to get the back of your and just rub down. And the same with that one, you can actually see the transfer moving off the carrier film onto the side of the wagon. It actually changes colour as it lifts off. It goes from the white to a grey. So I think that one's come off completely, so if I take that off first, you can now see that the actual transfer is on the wagon. And the paint is also still on the wagon. Now, I cheat because I sometimes letter the wagons up with different liveries on different sides, but the principle is the same. So, dead easy to rub down the transfers. Right, so the third set of transfers are the water slide ones. These are Fox transfers, but they're actually marketed by CamKit, and they're for a Cambrian 2 or 4 plank wagon. So the wagon we've actually got here is one of our own kits. It's the Cambrian Lime wagon with dumb buffered. So according to the drawings, the railways part goes on that bit, Cambrian part that bit, and the fleur-de-lis in the middle. So we need some water, a cotton bud, and I find this very useful. This is decal softener, and it allows the plastic decals to actually bend over any ironwork which is actually there on the side of the wagon. So we need to add some of that to the water. I try to use a little tea pipette, and I put 2 lots in. And then I take 1 set of transfers, and I'll start with the fleur-de-lis. I'll put that one there, there. As I said, this is my least favourite type of transfer because they are a bit of a pain in the bum, to be honest, because you get one shot and you don't get to move it. Just a case of waiting. Very boring. I might actually try and use the flat ones. Oh, there we go. It is now moving. Oops. Not quite as centrally as I was hoping for, but it's down and it's not broken up, which is what's happened in the past. So I'll do that again with the railways part. In fact, I'll do the cap. Just stick that in there. Wait a bit longer. We'll go with this one. Just slide it underneath the strapping there. Right, so that you can see now we've got the cam and the fleur-de-lis in the centre. So now for the railways part. So again, holding it with one hand and attempting to slide it off square with the other. As I said, this is my least favourite type of transfer. But there we are. Cambrian Railways, water slide transfers applied. The other disadvantage with this type of transfer is that between the letters there is a layer of plastic and it can go a bit glossy. So if you've got a matte finished van or wagon, you can get an extra stripe down the middle of the wagon. Okay, thank you very much for listening to this, and I'll see you for the next video.